Hello everybody, and in this video we want to talk about our brand new release, the Mini LMT Megalodon. Now, we've already talked about the Grave Digger and the Son-uva Digger in another video. We'll link that below, where we go into in depth of all the features and benefits and what makes this hobby grade RC car the best. Next to me, I have Chris Higa, our product developer behind the big LMT, the baby LMT, the 5th scale. You do a lot of stuff here for the brand, but talking about these vehicles specifically, I want to talk about hobby grade first thing and foremost. What does hobby grade mean to you?
So a hobby grade RC is something that is it's fixable. So you can replace any parts if you do damage your vehicle or it gets broken. You can buy the parts to replace them. The other thing that makes them awesome is that they're customizable. Right. You can change parts on them. You can change bodies, shocks, 4-link bars, colors of things, tires. I mean, you can totally make it your own because you can find parts and different things to make them that way. I mean, you can just look at the different body shapes now.
And they're also tunable.
Yes.
Right? That's another great thing. These are actual oil-filled shocks. You can change the oils, you can change the pistons, you can change the ride height, the springs, change the link locations.
Yep.
So many things for those that are going to get competitive with the Mini LMT and start racing, whether that's your driveway, your living room, wherever. That's one great thing, is that they're small and they're accessible, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can race these in your house. Pull your coffee table out of your living room and set up a course.
That's perfect, especially on the rug where you got some traction and start popping wheels. So with that, I'm going to pull these two aside just a little bit so we can focus on the brand new Megalodon, because there's some things that visually might not be so easily noticed that I want to walk through with you. The first one, and I'm going to tap on this on purpose, that's not Lexan. What is this?
So this is a ABS body, so it is a injection molded plastic body. So very different than Lexan, and it gives us the ability to make a more complex and detailed shape. So you really notice that in the front hood where you see the eye detail and the teeth, and you really can't get that kind of three-dimensional shape out of Lexan.
Exactly. So if this were made out of Lexan, there's no way we'd be able to get this undercut in here or all this detail, because then you couldn't pull the body off during manufacturing, right?
Correct.
So we were kind of forced to go with an ABS body. But one thing we talked about initially, really early on, is what about these fins? How are these fins not, one, going to be kind of dangerous or also rip off or, tear up your floor? Well,
yeah, so
rubber, right?
That was kind of our solution to making the fins replaceable, because these are going to take most of the damage when you crash. So all the fins are a rubber material, and they are fully replaceable, but it allows them to actually flex and move. So when the car does roll over and crash, they kind of move and bend, and then they just go back in place.
Perfect. Now all the details are there, even the small little details of the real truck, of what a real shark will have, the eyes, the teeth, the sticker package. But even looking inside, we have LeDuc himself, right, in there driving, which is totally awesome. Now, another new feature that's different from this, outside of the obvious body and the ABS construction, is the way that this body comes off, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead and show that, and how does that work?
So with this body, the way that the body comes up, there's actually twist locks on the front and back. You still have your side twist locks, but the body comes completely off the vehicle. So the cage and body is all one piece as far as coming off like this. And the main reason to do this is with the fins and how everything goes on the truck, there wasn't really a good way to make it tilt and stay on the truck and look correct like the other vehicles. So we decided that we would much rather have the body look correct. So you get the full look of the shark. And it just keeps such a better profile for the body.
Got it. So in other words, in this one, we had the ability to tilt back, but in this one we couldn't, because the tail would just run into it.
The tail runs into stuff, so.
Gotcha. Now let's go into body aside. Any features and benefits that are different between these two models outside of the obvious? These are green anodized or powder coated plates, right? Yep. These are the same, they're just black because the real truck's black?
Yeah. The other differences you see is there's actually a slight difference shape in the front of the chassis, and this is mainly for the clearance of the teeth. These chassis the holes are all in the same place, so you could run the black chassis with the Gravedigger, Son-uva bodies. But this is primarily due to just kind of create clearance for our teeth there.
Got it, right in here.
On that, yep. And the other major difference you see is we upgraded the lower 4-link bars on here. So now it's a tapered design. It's a much beefier, much bigger design for added strength. So,
perfect. So just showing these side by side here, you can see the difference between that link and this link. Looks like a much beefier unit for sure.
Yeah, and these parts are all, the links are all the same, so you can upgrade your existing Gravedigger, Son-uva to these, and they're still fully rebuildable, so the rod ends are the same, and you just be able to replace the centerpieces.
That's awesome. So now that we covered kind of the key differences, I'll close this up, but if you're new to Losi, hobby grade RC cars, or even the mini LMT, let's talk about kind of the high level features of what this truck's gonna do differently than your big box, RC cars, right? Because they're totally different. First, the big thing is 4-wheel drive, right? Why?
4-wheel drive, it just makes the car a little easier to drive. Real monster trucks 4-wheel drive. That's why we wanted these to be as realistic as possible. That's kind of the big thing.
Awesome. So 4-wheel drive, it looks like it is locked, but you still do have differentials in it, right?
Yes, you have differentials front and rear, but you have a lock center, and then what we have to protect the drivetrain is what we call our cush drive. And it is a rubber dampener that is inside the outside gearing on this side. We have, in this lower gear, there is a dampener so that when you land, it doesn't transfer all the shock to the drivetrain, so it helps to protect your axles, protect all your gears.
That makes a lot of sense. So like full monster trucks, if you're full pin trying to save it and you land, all that shock and inertia has to go somewhere, preferably not the gears, right?
Correct.
So it goes into that elastomer first, that absorbs some of the initial impact, then distributes it. So again, a feature there that makes this way more durable than just putting a high power system into a toy car.
Yes, very much so.
Awesome. So speaking of kind of the action that you can do, because this is capable of wheeling and doing backflips, especially with the 4-wheel drive, one thing that I think is really cool is the different profiles that are within the actual 2-in-1 ESC. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So the 2-in-1 ESC has a jumper setting that allows you to set the normal setup is forward, brake, and reverse. So you have you hit the brakes one time, and then you have to hit the reverse again to get it to go into reverse. You can move the jumper to get basically instant forward and reverse. This allows you to do a lot more of the freestyle tricks. It is harder on the drivetrain because you don't have brakes, but if you want to be able to do stoppies and put it on the nose, you have that instant stop forward reverse, so you can get the truck to come from here to here.
So if you're racing, you're gonna go with the standard setup. So you have brakes going into the corner.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna go full LeDuc, you gotta go change that jumper right here. This way you'll be able to do better stunts. So that's what's really cool is you can quickly switch between both profiles for whatever you're doing.
Correct, right? Yes. And it's a real easy change. It just pull it out, move it, your drive mode's changed.
Fantastic. All right, so now that we covered the awesome 4-wheel drive, the drivetrain, and some of the technology, how do you control all that technology?
So this is our standard SLT2 transmitter here. It's 2-channel radio. These have a throttle limiter in them. So for if you're going to give them to your small child to run, you can limit the throttle from 100%, 75, or 50%. So it slows the car down quite a bit while they're learning how to drive it. Keeps them from running into things in your house.
Perfect. So this out of the box does about 15 miles an hour, right?
Yeah, 14, 15 in that range,
So at 50%, let's call it 7 miles an hour, which it kind of puts it right at that kind of big box store toy. So it's almost like it's overbuilt for somebody that's young, but they're definitely not going to break or get into any trouble at 50%, which is great.
Yeah, it's just a lot safer when you're running them in your house. You have a lot of traction, so you don't. Your wife or your significant other may not appreciate the marks on the wall from you cartwheeling into the wall. So
that's right. Now, what are those other dials there in the front?
So the other dials on the front is we have dual rate, which is your steering rate. So this affects the total steering throw in the vehicle. So you can turn it down, especially when you're running indoors. Most of us will turn the steering rate down to keep the vehicle from traction rolling. So the more steering angle you have, the more prone the truck is to want to high side and kind of roll over. So you can turn that steering rate down. It increases the steering radius to make it a little bit bigger so you get less roll like that.
Got it.
The other knob is just your basic steering trim. So if the truck doesn't go straight, you can kind of trim the truck to go left or right depending on which way it's actually pulling.
And the best thing about this product is that everything you need is inside the box, right? You're gonna get a fully assembled truck, the transmitter, the batteries for the transmitter, battery, charger, a few little hand tools just in case you need to take off tires, for example, some stickers. Anything else that I'm missing that you want to mention about this awesome new Mini LMT Megalodon?
Honestly, this is my favorite one right now. So I'm super stoked just at how it came out, because for as long as I've been in RC, this is a very different avenue, I think, of just what we're able to produce. And it just, to me, is just like like you said, it's the next level where, you know, you're going into things, you're kind of crossing over that model toy, but getting back to the RC fun.
That's perfect. Yeah, so I want to thank you not only for your time, but your commitment to the Losi brand and taking us to the next level. These were great. These are super popular, one of our top sellers, but we continue to push the envelope in scale and performance and durability. Ultimately, all these little small steps, make our product better every day.
Oh yeah.
So thank you, Chris, for everything you do here. Now, I want to thank you guys for taking the time of watching this video. If you want to learn more about the Mini LMT Megalodon or any of the other awesome products that we have, feel free to subscribe to this YouTube channel, check out our website, and we'll see you in the next one.